Hey, we're back with another episode of Byron Scott's Fast Break. My name is Kid J, being brought to you by Prize Pick. Make your first deposit and your first gameplay automatically receives $50 in free promo funds. Prize Pick, the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepick.com and use our code FASTBREAK. That's all one word, FASTBREAK. Today, we welcome somebody you may or may not recognize. Today's guest is actor Ethan Suplee. Ethan Suplee, man, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
Man,
Pleasure to be here.
Man, I've followed you for years, okay? First and foremost, back on the sitcoms, and then one of my favorite movies of all time. We'll talk about that in a second, but this transformation, what is going on? How did you do this incredible transformation? Talk about that for a second.
You know, I struggled with my weight basically my whole life as a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, starting from when I was 5 years old, I was put on diets and nothing really clicked. You know, I was always looking for like the get rich quick scheme of like, you know, if I just don't eat bread, maybe I'll get to be the right weight, or if I don't eat sugar, maybe I'll get to be the right weight, you know. And I tried basically every version of diet there is. And it turns out, you know, my struggles with food were really more mental and emotional. And it took me kind of getting some kind of inner peace to be able to hit a weight I was happy with and stay with it. And I've now been the same weight for 6 years, which is pretty miraculous. For me, because I'd lost weight a number of times. You know, in 2010, I was pretty thin, and 2014, I lost weight again, but I just kept gaining it back. And so this time, I feel like I've gotten onto a path that is working and successful.
Now, have you lost any roles because of the weight loss?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm certainly not cast in the same way, but I haven't heard.
So you're
of like,
typecast.
I haven't heard of a role where they're like, we would have hired you if you were bigger. I haven't heard of that. You know, I've got a TV show that'll start airing on Amazon October 17th.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm losing roles. I'm just doing different roles.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of great roles, Louis Lastic.
Yeah, he was the best, man.
Man, remember the Titans. Talk about that movie. Talk about all the great actors you work with. Talk about being on that set.
Well, you know, it was doubly meaningful for me because I had just finished a movie called American History X.
Yeah,
where
another great movie.
A great movie, but I played this pretty like creepy dude, and I was like, I need to find a palate cleanser. You know what I mean? And and here's remember the Titans is really a movie about civil rights, and a lot of the white kids in that movie start off not being too great, and then there is an arc. But I was the one white kid who was just like, no, I just love everyone who's on my team, and we're playing football, and I got, you know. So that was like the first relief. It was like, oh my God, this role would be amazing for that reason. And then, you know, Denzel Washington is like an idol of mine, and getting to work with him was kind of insane. And I wound up doing 2 more movies with him, which also was profoundly wild.
So there was a gigantic Hollywood world premiere with this movie. Talk about that experience. Was that your first one? Like where there was this gigantic Hollywood world premiere?
I don't know that I mean, I went to movie premieres prior to that, but I don't know that, you know, I went to the premiere of Titanic. I don't know that Titanic even had a premiere as big as Remember the Titans. We were at the Rose Bowl. They had a Air Force flyover. It was just wild, man. I don't know that they really do premieres like that anymore, you know?
Yeah. I read somewhere that Denzel Washington was intense on this set. Like he was in character, like coach character from start to finish. Was he really like that on the set? Like, talk about that experience working with him on this particular movie.
The the lightest, the most levity I ever saw out of him on that set was we were shooting in Atlanta, and we were shooting during the World Series, and it happened to be Yankees versus Braves.
Mm-hmm.
And the Yankees were up, and one day, you know, and there's hundreds of extras who are all Atlanta locals.
Yeah.
And one day Denzel came to set with a broom and just was waving this broom around.
Sweet.
And that was kind of the lightest, most fun he was on set. But yeah, he was mostly in character, you know, and like to the point where there's a lot of downtime shooting a movie. So you like sit around and chat with the other actors and stuff, but they really kind of segregated the adults and the kids. So the football players had their little seating area, and then the coaches had their little seating area, and you kind of didn't, you knew like that area over there is off limits to us, you know?
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, man. They, you know, it's kind of hard to go from like chatting with a peer to being the peer's coach. So they were the coaches. We were the knucklehead kids, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and I'm kind of put you on the spot here. All right.
Sure.
It was at camp, and there's a cafeteria scene, and you broke out and sang "Temptations Ain't Too Proud to Beg." Can you still belt that? Can you sing it? Can you sing it for us on the spot here on the podcast?
I wouldn't ding. I practiced so hard. We did so much practice of all that stuff, man. We got all the songs a month or 6 weeks ahead of time, and we had singing coaches and everything else, man. I wouldn't embarrass myself like that. Just like, I don't still got it. I don't think I could have done it without all that preparation either.
All right. Well, I was trying to put you on the spot.
I don't have the chops, man. It's early in the morning. My pipes aren't warmed up.
All right. It's all good. Do you still stay in contact with anybody from that movie? Like, do you have friends from it? Do you guys get together? Do you guys ever look back and say, oh my God, there's one of those iconic movies that you can look back, because that movie came out in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Or 2000,
so.
In 2000. So we're 24 years in, and still to this day is iconic. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a Disney movie. And like, I have Disney Plus, and every time I turn on Disney Plus, it's still one of the top movies on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So like, that's an iconic movie. Do you still stay in contact with those peoples, and you guys talk about that iconic movies to this day?
No, man. Being an actor is really like, you know, you're like a carnival worker, and you're never at the same carnival. You just move from carnival to carnival. And, you know, I saw Wood maybe 2 years ago, and that was great. And he's doing great. But I don't stay in touch with anybody. You know, not only am I a father now and have kids in college, but I have kids who finish college who have kids. I'm a grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I definitely have friends from my childhood that I'm in close touch with. But, you know, you go into a movie and you have this intense experience with somebody for a few months, and then you're done. And then you got to go on and do it again with a new group of people. And while I do remain friendly with people that I've worked with, I'm not in super close touch with any of them.
Now, you mentioned Denzel Washington. You ended up working with him on a couple movies. If I'm not mistaken, I think I read somewhere 3 movies. John Q is one of them.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, I believe, was the other one.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk about, did you learn anything from him working on additional movies? You know, do you credit anything to him in your career?
Man, I think I was probably almost too nervous while working with him to have even been aware enough to pay attention in that way. You know, I think it takes somebody who's a little bit more grounded to even be in the position to learn, to be open to learning. And every time I've worked with him, he was doing a play. This is a few years ago, in New York, and I actually became closer with one of the guys who works for him, Sal, and I went to see another play in New York, and I came out and I saw Sal standing next to the backstage door to the theater that his play was in, and Sal was like, "Oh, Ethan, you got to come in and say hi to D." And I was like, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to bother him before he goes on to do a show. Like, I'd rather just chat with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to me, Denzel, as far as actors go, he's one of the absolute greats. And I don't know that I have a lot to say to him outside of dialogue. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just want to do that right. I don't want to be some kind of, I feel like I would say the wrong thing or something, or act like a nerd or something, I don't know, geek out on him a little bit too much. And so I'm happy that I've gotten to share the screen with him a number of times. But like, he's still like a kind of a mythical creature to me. So, and I want to keep it that way. You know what I mean? You also, you never really want to meet your heroes because all they can do is disappoint you, man. I don't want to think of him as a human being. He's a god.
I kind of like that. How about you've worked with some amazing actors. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, Johnny Depp. We mentioned Ryan Gosling a little earlier. Ed Norton. I mean, these are some of the best of the best. You're talking about gods. Did you pick up anything from these type of actors?
Strangely, and I've met Michael Caine, but I never worked with Michael Caine. But Michael Caine did a video, and it's on YouTube now, and it's like on acting for film. Mm-hmm. And I've watched that video 50 times, and I feel like the lessons that I take into acting, I probably got mostly from his lecture on how to act for film. It's all like knowing where your eye line should be and knowing where to stand and knowing how to approach your mark without making it obvious that you're looking for your mark, and keeping some intensity and life in your eyes. It's stuff like that. I will say with Leo DiCaprio, I was always so impressed. Look, the star of any movie, when they arrive at set, everybody should be ready to go. You know what I mean? Like everybody's standing on their marks. The star comes in, you start the scene. And I found it pretty wild that Leo mostly beat everybody else to set, which he didn't have to do. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy who we're all expecting to get ready, and then he'll appear and we'll do our scene. And he was there before any of us. Almost every day, every take, they knocked on his door and said, "We're ready for you." And he just walked out. It wasn't like, let me finish this call I'm on, or finish, this page of the book I'm reading, or finish my meal. He just dropped it and went. And that I thought was really impressive. And that you don't see from everyone,
Wow.
Yeah. So I really appreciated that with him, and definitely try to emulate that.
So he led by example. I love that.
Yeah.
So how did you get into acting? What was your first role?
My first role was on a TV show called Boy Meets World in the early 90s. But I was interested in it prior to that. I went to school in Los Angeles, and there were some other actors in Los Angeles. Soleil Moon Frye, who at the time was on a show called Punky Brewster, and Giovanni Ribisi, who at that time I think was on The Wonder Years. And I got to be honest, man, the thing that I was most fascinated by was that the other kids at school didn't look at them and have interest in them for who Soleil and Giovanni were. they looked at them and they saw characters from TV. And to me, I was an overweight kid with low self-esteem and a lot of self-hatred, and thought that it would be really interesting if people weren't looking at me for my weight and judging me, but rather looking at me and as though I was in some kind of a disguise. Like it was appealing at first because it separated me from me. And it kind of hid me from the public in a way that made me somewhat more comfortable with myself. And that was really my fascination with it at first. And then I just grew to love doing it.
So you've done some TV sitcom, a big one, My Name is Earl, and done tons of movies. Do you prefer sitcoms or movies?
I think the lifestyle of television is in my opinion a better lifestyle. You know, I'm sure for a megastar or movie star that they can create whatever kind of lifestyle they want while doing movies. I don't think that's in the cards for me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. I want to prioritize as much time as I can with my family. And so doing television is more conducive to that. Doing television is far closer to a 9-to-5 job than a movie. A movie is like going to work on a carnival. You disappear and wind up in, you know, Shreveport, Louisiana, or, you know, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or name any other small town in America, Atlanta, Georgia, for 6 months. And when you're working, you're working like long hours, you know, 14-hour days. And then often, because they got to give actors 12 hours turnaround, you start the week at 5 a.m. on Monday, and you might not even get off work till 6, 7 a.m. Saturday. And then you got like 30 some hours to recuperate and start the whole thing over again on Monday. And so TV, from that sense, I think, you know, I did a television show for Hulu for a couple of years called Chance, which was my absolute favorite job. I got to play just this badass dude with all kinds of tactical and weapons knowledge and abilities that I certainly don't have, but it was fun to pretend. And, you know, I don't know that I'd ever be able to do or be allowed to do anything like that in a movie, but, you know, I'm still doing movies. I have a horror movie coming out next year called Dolly, which will be great. But I like to stay connected to television. So this TV show coming out on Amazon will be great.
What roles are you most proud of out of your whole career?
Yeah, that show Chance on Hulu. It was me and Hugh Laurie. It's a great show. It's still there. There's 2 seasons on Hulu that are available to watch. And you know, the movies I did in the 90s, I'll always think of fondly. You know, strangely enough, like my first movie is a movie called Mallrats, which
comedy.
was not successful at the time, and then went on to do really well at like Blockbuster, and became like, you know, like people really love that movie. I've talked to you know, military men who say every deployment we ever went on, Mallrats was in our bag of DVDs, and we watched it over there overseas, which that's meaningful, you know?
Wow.
And so there was that, and remember the Titans, obviously, American History X, Blow. Like I did some movies that people really still think of fondly, and that's pretty awesome. But then, like, as far as my life went, My Name is Earl was an amazing show to be on, and we did that for years, and it was really successful. And then this show Chance, and hopefully the show I have coming out soon called The Pradeeps of Pittsburgh, about an Indian family that moves to Pittsburgh and gets me and my very Christian wife, who's constantly trying to convert them, as neighbors. You know, it's pretty funny, and hopefully we'll do that for a while, you know.
Last question. Rank your top 5 sports films of all time. Go.
let's see. I don't know. I love The Natural. The Natural's a great movie. Miracle, Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. Wow.
That's a fucking great. Oh, sorry. Can I swear? That's a great movie. You can.
That's
bleep
the
me
Jamaican.
out.
Is that the Jamaican bobsled team?
The bobsled movie. Yeah, those guys are awesome. I watched that movie recently. I rewatched that movie recently. How many is that? 3?
Yeah.
Okay, one more. I'm gonna go sports. I'll say The Sandlot and Remember the Titans.
So tell us about any story about Kobe Bryant. Your favorite story about Kobe Bryant.
My favorite story about Kobe Bryant was just being at a Lakers game and him going for some impossible shot and flying backwards and landing literally on my lap. That was my favorite. That's my favorite Kobe Bryant story.
Was he sweaty all over you?
Oh my God, he was a mess. It was a disaster, and it also hurt a little bit. But you know, that's what you put up with as a fan.
That's what you get for being in the front row.
That's right.
Celebrity status. All right, I'll get you out of here on this American Glutton podcast. What made you want to start that podcast, and tell us about the podcast?
You know, it's a health and fitness and diet, and we talk about every diet out there and what has helped me and what has hindered me in this process, and you know, it helps keep me accountable. Also, it helps keep me on that path. You know.
How can people find that podcast, and how do people get in touch with you, Ethan?
Instagram. I'm not really active anywhere else, but Instagram, there's a podcast page, American Glutton Podcast on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is just Ethan Suplee.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. My man, Ethan Suplee, joining us on Byron Scott's Fast Break. Thank you very much.
Jay, my pleasure. Thank you, brother.
Man, that was great having Ethan Suplee on, joining Fast Break today.
Yeah, Ethan, he's done well.
Yeah.
He's had some hell of a roles. You know, to be a part of a show, any show with Denzel, and not only once, but a couple of times, that means you've made it, or you're on your way to making it big time. So, Ethan, we want to thank you so much. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
What did you think about his top 5 movies of all time, though?
Top 5 movies all time was a trip. I mean, because, you know, I didn't expect Cool Running to be in there. You know,
Jamaican bobsled team.
Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah, man.
Now, and I love the movie. You know what I'm saying, Kid J? I love the movie, but I thought it was a comedy more, and I never thought of it really as a sports movie. For some reason, you know, even though I know it is, bobsledding is a sport.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it as a sports movie because it had me cracking up, you know, during the movie and everything, but it was cool as hell. And for him to come up with that one, because I've never heard that one, when you talk to somebody, you ask them your top 5 sports movies, that's the first time I've heard Cool Running name being mentioned. So that was great. That was great.
Classic. So now I got to ask you, what is your top 5 sports movie of all time?
Top 5. Well, you know, Remember the Titans.
Okay.
You know, that's got to be.
Are you putting them in order?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to put them in
not in order.
In any order. I'm going to just name my top 5.
Top
but
5.
Remember the Titans.
Yes. Classic.
Classic, man. Rudy's
Love another great one.
You know, that's another great one. That's 2. Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx.
Football.
You know, also you had LT in there, LL Cool J, Bill Bellamy. You know, all the cool cats that I know.
Yeah.
So that's what, 3?
That's 3.
Hoosiers.
Oh man, that's a great
Love
one.
Hoosiers. Gene Hackman.
Great one.
You know, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And my last one is Blue Chip.
Another
with Nick
basketball.
Nolte, you know, Shaq, Penny Hardaway, you know, those guys. So that's another one that I really enjoy. So that's my top 5.
So you think Shaq's a great actor?
I didn't say that. I just said Diesel, I didn't say that. I ain't saying you ain't either. I'm just saying it was one of my top 5 movies as far as sports movies to go.
Okay.
So yeah, I just loved it. But Kid J, what's your top 5?
Okay. Not in order.
Okay. All right.
But Hoosiers.
Okay.
Probably my favorite
I love
basketball
Hoosiers,
movie
man.
of all time.
I love Hoosiers.
Let's see what else. I have Rudy in there.
Okay.
Remember the Titans.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
All right.
A League of Their Own.
That was a good one. that was a good one. I love that one though.
Yeah.
I love that one because Tom Hanks was so good.
Yes.
You know, and I'm a big Tom Hanks fan. I love Tom Hanks. I love all the movies he does. So
that's my favorite baseball. Well, technically softball.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, softball.
But you know what?
Women's softball.
We'll call it baseball
Yeah,
for the
okay.
ladies, though. We'll call it. So that's 4. So last one.
Rocky.
Oh, you're right.
Rocky.
You're right.
Because it's sports still.
Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, come on. Does it matter?
He had about 7 of them, right?
8.
No, but no, that's a good one. That's a good list.
Creed.
Too.
Can I put Creed
yeah.
part of Rocky?
Yeah. It's they all play off of Rocky, right?
Yeah, it's a playoff.
So
spinoff.
Yeah. That's a good list. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, I like
All
that.
right, I like that list.
Yeah.
There's so many great sports
Man.
movies of all time.
Man.
What's your favorite basketball one? I know you just mentioned 2 of them. What's your favorite basketball one, though?
It's got to be Hoosiers.
Why Hoosiers?
I don't know. I think because of the fact that you had.
It's in Indiana now.
It's in Indiana.
Come on.
Which is like basketball. I mean, back in those days,
Yeah.
Indiana was Hoopville. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I think
but
because
Larry
of the
Bird came
fact,
from there, so.
yeah, Larry Bird from there. But I think the fact that you had Gene Hackman playing a coach who was really kind of thrown to the side because
Yeah.
of some things he did in the past, to get a second chance to go to this small school. And, I've always been, a David versus Goliath type guy.
Yeah.
So for that small school to go up against all these big schools and win a title and the way they did it, I just loved that movie. And that movie really was kind of a tearjerker for me. I was like, man, I started sitting there like, man, this is, such a great movie. But I think Hoosiers for me is the best basketball, sports basketball movie that I've seen all times.
My favorite part of that movie is when he pulls out the measuring tape.
Exactly.
He measures the hoop.
Yep.
It's the same height as back in India.
Back at home. That's
And
right.
he measures the free throw line.
Yep.
It's the same distance
Yep.
as back in Indiana.
Just to show y'all, man, the court's the same. Ain't nothing changed. Now, it might be more people up
Yeah,
there and
a
everything.
lot more
but
people.
yeah, but the court, the height, the width, the rims, the net, everything's the same, just like back home.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of basketball, somebody retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big name over there at ESPN.
Yeah.
Woj.
Wojo. How you said Woj's last name? Wojciechowski?
Wojciechowski?
And
Adrian
We just
Wojciechowski.
called him Woj.
Everybody just calls him Woj.
Just called him Woj. And
Now, here's the most interesting thing I saw. He retired from a great gig,
Yeah.
but now he's going to be the GM of his alma mater, St. Bonaventure College.
Yeah.
That's an interesting place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Transition.
Well, you know what? Obviously he has something special with, University of St. Bonaventure. Something about that attracted him to that. And, first of all, kudos to Woj.
Yeah.
30 plus years at ESPN.
Yeah.
One
Major
of the
job.
best reporters that you'll ever meet. When he talked to you, you knew it was going to be, done the right way. You never felt that he was going to try to stab you in the back or take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I loved about Woj when I got a chance to meet him and do interviews with him and things of that nature. He was just a purist about the game of basketball, and he was just really good at it. And what he reported 99.9% of the time was facts. He went through his resources to make sure everything was factual. And so we're going to miss you, Woj. I mean, you did a great job, had a great career. Good luck at St. Bonaventure. I know you'll do well there as well. Great job.
I've seen nothing but positives across the trades and TV.
Oh, without a
about
doubt.
him being gone.
Without a doubt.
So your Steelers are 2-0.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Justin Fields has been the starting quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Russell Wilson hasn't even played.
Nope.
I don't think he's going to play this week either.
Look, I'm not Mike Tomlin. That's my dude.
Yeah.
And he's a coach. He knows what he's doing. One of the best coaches in the NFL for many years. But, in my opinion, Justin Fields got us 2-0. Even if Russell's ready, I'm sticking with Justin Fields.
Are you worried that they've only scored 1 touchdown in 2 games?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because I tell you what, 1 touchdown this week ain't going to get it done against the Chargers.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work. But my Steelers. Our Steelers are built on defense.
Okay.
And the offense is just not to lose the game. That's what our offense is always, not always. When we had been, Rothenberger, we was like, yeah, we can score with you, and we got a defense. But we got a situation right now where we're just trying to, we're trying not to lose games on the offensive end.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a point in time where the offensive coordinator is going to have to open up the playbook a little bit more to Justin
so he can
Fields.
run.
use them feet, man. That dude, I mean, put him in passing situations. He don't have it, tuck it and run. Keep plays alive because he's got the capability of doing that, right? But I think the offense, I don't think it'll catch up to the defense this year, but I think, week 5, week 6, week 7, these guys will start getting a lot more used to what they're doing, and I think they'll start scoring because they got some weapons. It's just, I think they're playing conservative football right now because their defense is playing so damn good.
Yeah. You gonna ask me about my team?
Well, your team on too, so I want to know. Your team on. We gonna ask Kid.
Let me just duck my head.
Yeah, we gonna ask Kid J. How does he still feel about his Denver Broncos after this 0-2 start? Are you still very
Let me just duck
happy,
my head.
or just tell us how you feel about the Broncos right now?
Work in progress.
Bo Nix. I mean, how you still feel about your rookie quarterback?
He's a rookie.
That's why I took that bet. I was like, man, that's a rookie going against the that's still a defense.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a trip.
I owe you.
Yeah. $20, y'all.
Okay,
$20. And I wanted to wait till the show just to get paid.
Well,
my $20.
It's 2024, so I don't carry cash. So I don't.
What you saying? You only got $10 from me?
$10. I owe you.
Give me my $10.
I owe you $10 more.
You owe me 10 more on the next show. See, we're gonna just keep it going that way.
So this okay. So we bet it on the game and we bet it on the season too. The better record, right?
Yes, we did.
All right. So that's another $20. Right?
Yeah. So right now I'm looking pretty damn good.
You're looking great.
I'm looking really good. But the Steelers got a tough one this week.
Yeah. We'll talk next week.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will.
But I do think we're gonna win a couple though.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean,
I think it can only we can only go one place.
It can only get better, right?
We can only go one place.
Get better. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I agree. I think you're gonna win more than a couple. To be honest with you,
we can only go up.
Yeah.
We can't get any worse than this.
I think you're gonna win probably 5-6 games.
I think that does it for our show today. That's another episode of Byron Scott's Fast Break. We got to thank Ethan Suplee.
Absolutely. Ethan, thank you so much, my brother. We appreciate you and continued success.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
Thank you for watching Byron Scott's Fast Break. If you like what you saw, here's some more videos. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.